letting me know that once I meet someone or get to know something, and I'm ready to do it right away. Let's go. We're going to help. But being on the covenant team, I'm learning to rein that in some. Getting to understand conversations with people. That just because we have a heart to give or a heart to reach out and in any form doesn't mean the other, not that you're not, but the other part of what you want to do is ready to reach out to you. So I sent a letter, finally after conversations with Jason, sent a letter, and I get this letter from Julie Hart Tyson. I'm like, Not just a regular old letter, because Julie and I have known each other for many, many years in the 19th century, as Greg said. But, kind of want to fill us out, and then we start, Rachel, Julie, Jason, and then Shelley at the end. You weren't there, and myself. We would get together for coffee, or we got together for dinner after I got a job. And so it all started when I saw this tent beside us getting set up at Pride, and I grabbed a pole to help. And then it went from there, and I'm like, why are all these children at this tent? Not children, but they're children to me. But the busiest tent there. And so I inquired. I think I might have talked to Greg first. And so it went from there. And for some reason, and I grew up in Alamance. You grew up in Alamance. Yes, we both grew up in Alamance County. Everybody knows there's enough said there. So, I started thinking, because I had to go through a period in my life. I grew up at the children's home in Elon, and I went through a period in my life where I had no one. I couldn't say what I felt. I thought I might be a boy. I didn't know, all these things running through my head and thinking, oh, well, these girls are they're my friends, but they're cute. I feel different about them. And had no one. There was no Gaddy who was there for his students, and then there was no Rachel. And I'll let her tell her story, but it touched me because Alamance County has never had anything remotely positive, considering the LGBTQIA+, and there's the two S. Yes. And so I was intrigued, and my heart opened to your organization. And I really wanted to volunteer right away, but after conversations, we got to get to know oh, there he is.
I'm moving around.
After conversations, I realized that, we all got to get to know each other. So I'll let Rachel tell her story, and I'll shut up, because we know I can talk. But, so we can welcome Transcend Alamance here.
Okay. Oh, that's great. Thank you, Amy. That was amazing introduction. So hello, everyone. So my name is Rachel Hopkins, she, her, and I am the founder of Transcend Alamance. I am here today with my family and some friends and board members of Transcend. We have Julie Tyson and, and Sarai Serrano. And so my partner and I have been married for 20 years, and we both grew up here. I grew up in the same house that my dad grew up in, right there on Mebane Street in Burlington. My partner grew up in a house on his dad's family's road, and then went to visit his mom's family on that family road. So when we got married, we moved to our house in Mebane, and we've been there ever since. And I went to Alamance Community College when I was 30, got my associate's degree, and then transferred to UNC and stayed there for my master's. I am now a licensed clinical mental health counselor with a private practice right there in downtown Mebane. If you walk down 4th Street, you should see my bay window. We have 2 children. Our oldest, Abby, she, they, is currently at their first year in Western Carolina in the mountains. Go Catamounts. Their colors are purple and gold, so that makes me very happy. My youngest, Caden, him, is in high school right now at ABSS and has just gotten his permit and is generally doing something connected with dance, theater, or K-pop. And if you don't know what that is and are interested, I will tell you after. Just ask me. It's okay if you don't, but we love it. So this is our home. We are from here. Alamance County has been a part of molding every part of who I am. Child, adolescent, adult, wife, mother, student, employee, therapist, business owner, and gardener. So if you know, you know, it's red mud. So how devastating is it that one of my very first thoughts when my child came out was, I have got to get out of here. I was immediately terrified about what his life would be like living here. I was afraid for his safety, his well-being, his happiness, and realistically, moving was not an option for us. It's not a real solution either. If everyone who wanted more acceptance from their community left, how would we ever change? How would we ever move forward? So since I started my career as a therapist, the majority of the people I see are a part of the LGBTQIA plus community in some way. Long before my own kids came out, I had been looking for local resources for trans people specifically. You see, individual therapy is amazing and impactful, and so much recovery and healing is done one-on-one with your therapist. But one large factor that affects our overall well-being is our sense of belonging. Trans and non-binary people, especially in rural areas like Alamance County, have a very hard time finding that sense of belonging. Trans and many of my trans clients, they are all older adults, had never met another trans person face to face. Could you imagine that? Could you imagine not ever having contact with someone like you? Since trans people are not the first group of people to experience this, I am positive that there are non-trans people in this room right now that do know exactly what that feels like. If that is not something you have ever experienced, I invite you right now to take a small pause and imagine what that could be like. So I can tell you that human beings are wired to require the presence of other people in order to survive and develop. But simply having other humans around to ensure that you have all the elements required to stay alive is not enough. Surviving and thriving are two very different things. Survival is all about responding to and avoiding threat. Thriving requires a sense of safety and connection. So for years, I have thought about trying to create some support groups specifically for trans and other gender diverse folks, but I kept thinking, who am I? Who am I to speak about this? I am not trans. Because of my work, I may have more knowledge about the trans community than the average Joe, but I have absolutely no knowledge about the trans experience. Who am I? I also kept thinking, oh, someone better than me will come around and do something, right? And then my kid came out, and there were no support systems for him in his community. So I decided that I would be doing something. So I researched other great programs in communities around us, Durham, Chapel Hill, Raleigh, Greensboro. I talked to friends and colleagues. What I want to do is be a part of building a sense of community for queer, trans, and gender diverse people in Alamance County. That's the goal. So we hit the ground running last September, so we're up on our year anniversary, with our first monthly social for teens, 8th through 12th grade, and our first in-person peer-led support group for trans and non-binary adults. We have not missed a month since. Since it started, Transcend has grown more and faster than I ever dreamed, and we have a lot of other things in the works. Currently, we are planning to launch a youth social club junior for 5th through 7th graders, and that first one should be in October. We are working on a parent support group and some other online support groups for people who can't be in person, possibly a mentor program. I have partnered with the Elon Gender and LGBTQIA Plus Center and have received an amazing community grant from Impact Alamance. We have had one round of online workshops so far for parents and allies, and we'll be having more. And we will be having our second Queer, Trans, and Ally Holiday Potluck this November. My own very busy kid doesn't even get to attend the youth socials often, but the kids that do come keep coming back over and over again, and they definitely feel like it's a place to see their people. So the word transcend means to rise or to go beyond the limits of, or to triumph over the negative or restrictive aspects of something. In other words, to overcome. Transcend's mission is to go beyond the homophobic, transphobic, and racist attitudes, beliefs, and history of Alamance County, and to work towards creating a sense of belonging and community for queer, trans, and gender diverse people that live here, work here, and are from here. I want a community where no matter how far away from here this beautiful life takes my children, they never feel like they can't come home to Alamance County. So I appreciate you all taking the time to listen to me. So for now, I would love for you to pass the mic to Sarai and let you hear her speak.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. First of all, I want to thank you all for allowing us to be here today. My name is Sarai Serrano. My pronouns are they, them. I live in Burlington with my wife and 3 children. I work in Alamance County for a nonprofit organization that serves seniors and their caregivers. I've been in Alamance County for a little over 3 years now. Prior to that, I lived in Durham. I met Rachel and her husband last year at Alamance Pride in Burlington. She had a full smile on her face. She was so welcoming to my whole family. We spoke for about 10 minutes about God knows how many things. I honestly don't remember. But what I do remember is feeling welcomed, feeling seen, and feeling that I could be part of something that for once I could be myself. And here's why. So I grew up in a small town, Tarboro, with a T, not Carborough, Edgecombe County to be exact. If you're familiar, then you know that there isn't much out there. Now it's a small town, country, not much diversity. And you must be like everyone else because you don't want to stand out. Needless to say, you can't be gay because you'll be the talk of the town. I grew up in a religious household. My mother was a deacon of the church. Both my parents were Sunday school teachers. My uncle, you might have guessed it, was a preacher. I was a typical kid. I made good grades. I didn't get in trouble. I was a captain of the soccer team, honor roll student, and so on. Life was okay. I was just like everyone else, but not for long. I came to realization about my sexuality when I was 16. A lot happened when I came out to my parents, and as you may imagine, it wasn't received well. I was depressed, I was lonely, I was scared, ashamed, I was disgusted and angry. I didn't have anyone to talk to, unfortunately. I didn't have anyone to turn to. I didn't have anyone to look up to. No one to help me through my difficult journey. I felt the pain of being different, of feeling different, of thinking different. I felt like God let me down. My parents let me down. My community let me down. I lived with the feeling for a long time. And unfortunately, I felt like I had to choose between my happiness and my family, my faith, and the town that I grew up in. So I moved away. And throughout my journey, I got a chance to know myself, my needs, my wants, my aspirations, and my goals. And along that journey, I found myself seeking safe spaces, and I am grateful that Transcend Alamance has been able to meet me where I am today. Safe spaces, inclusive spaces are important for all people from all walks of life. I want to thank you again for allowing us to share this moment with you and opening your hearts, your minds, and your ears to our experiences. Thank you for welcoming the LGBTQ community to your congregation. These safe spaces are invaluable, and I am grateful that this space can exist in our community. Coming from someone who at 16 wished that existed at that time, who at 18, being a teenage mom, wished that she had someone to turn to. And at 21, not knowing, do I stay, do I leave, what do? I wish I had this space. So thank you so much. And I look forward to being welcomed and seeing my community welcomed and seeing more members of the LGBTQ community here and sharing this space with you. Thank you again.
Spend a moment with Julie.
In just a moment, I think, actually, not even 2 moments, but just 1 moment. And I don't have anything prepared. I'm Julie Tyson, and I just wanted to say how amazing it is to be here. Thank you, Jason. I am a lifelong United Methodist, the daughter of a United Methodist pastor. I had 5 uncles who were Methodist ministers. My grandfather was a Methodist minister, all in eastern North Carolina. I have removed my membership from the Methodist Church probably, I don't know, 5 years ago probably. My father passed away, and I just felt like that time had passed. I had gone to the Methodist Church to his service, but had sort of vowed that I would not go back to a Methodist church.
Whoops.
So thank you. How I got here this morning, I don't know. I met Rachel at Alamance Community College as a fellow student. I was a grown-up student as well, and we became friends. And the starting of Transcend Alamance, I got to tell you, our friendship is just deeper than this organization, but this organization, like when I think about, I came out in 1981 to my parents, and again, it didn't go that well for me either. Although it has transcended, and it has. I did have great relationship with my family. I've got good family support. I did not have to leave this area and go somewhere else to thrive. But this is so important, and just being here this morning, I just felt moved to say thank you. I've never been to a Methodist church service like this before, and to have the call to is so different than anything. I felt like I actually could speak and had a voice, and I'm so appreciative of the opportunity, and just want to say thank you for having us here today. It just is very meaningful for me in a pinpoint place of being a Methodist as well as being part of this Transcend Alamance organization, and my heart is just blossoming right now. And thank you. I appreciate y'all. Thank you. Thank you. I love you so much. All right, girl.
So with that, I just want to say thank you as well. Thank you so much for inviting us and being open to us being here. welcoming us. And so I'd like to open up the floor now for any questions or comments from you guys.
Just let us have a dramatic pause.
Oh, yeah. I can sit in silence. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I just have one. How can we as individuals be supportive of Transcend?
I hate to start it this way, but money.
They're used
We
to
have a
it.
lot in common.
But and joking, but not joking. But money, talk about us. Word of mouth. Let people know that we're there, that we're out there. That's probably the biggest thing you could do. Share if you are on social media. Follow us. Share our stuff. That's probably the biggest. Other than money, is the biggest. And it does suck that's part of it, but it's everything you learn when you start this. Everything just costs. So, but really getting our programs out there, and everything that we provide, unless we're doing like a fundraiser or something like that, is free. These are free groups. These are free. The social groups are free. The support, and that's a goal too, to always keep that. These programs are not going to cost. Finances should not be a barrier for support for community. So,
I have multiple
yeah.
questions.
Oh, no worries.
One other one is, I know you're located here in Alamance County.
Yes.
And I know that there are opportunities in Orange County and, in towns. But I grew up on a farm in northern Orange County, and that's like a whole different world from Carver and Chapel Hill. etc.
Yes, it is.
And so the stories that they're telling were exactly what I went through when I was young.
Yes.
And there's still kids that are growing up out in those communities, and we went to Methodist Church out there. It's a wonderful church. It's a church I grew up in, but it's definitely more like her church than this church. So are the opportunities available for kids from rural Orange County, et cetera, to be part of this group?
Yes, we highlight Alamance County obviously because that is we're kind of nestled in between Chapel Hill and Greensboro. But yes, I think when I envision like Caswell County, and there's schools that I absolutely schools and areas that I absolutely kind of in my head have those as part of of us. And we sent Hillsboro. A lot of folks from even Hillsboro will contact me looking for, because we are close. Sometimes we are closer, or again, we're part of the same rural kind of. We have some similarities there. So absolutely. And then on the other side, there's Southeast Guilford, that area used to be where they changed the line. So all of that area, I kind of consider that absolutely here too, for folks here. And if we have an online group, it's not going to just be for local folks. We're going to try to localize it here as much as possible, but that will be open to. It's really open to anyone. We even have people from kiddos from Chapel Hill come, because there's not always what they need. Yes, we have, in all the ways we are able to. That was great.
I have a question.
Oh, sorry.
Bring it up.
No, I had to.
Oh, no, you please.
My partner had other questions.
Yeah, she didn't feed them to me. Now I lost my question. But knowing that we're in Alamance County and that people disagree, how are the people involved protected, loved? Just
Like that extra. So you mean the people who come to our stuff? Okay. So for our adult group, that address is not put anywhere on the internet. Like, you have to fill out a form to get the address, and then we'll put you on a list. It's just a really simple thing, just to vet some people. So we don't put the address out there. You do not know it. People should not know where we meet unless they shouldn't know where we meet unless somebody tells them. And if that ever gets breached, we will change locations. So with the youth, that is always on my mind, because we do advertise where we do our youth stuff. So with that, I want a better answer, but we're keeping a watch. Like, it's involving police or anything like that is kind of a sticky matter, so we haven't done that yet. We may have some conversations just in case, but mostly it is being watchful, making sure there's enough adults there. And just so y'all know, I will put this may not mean much in the end of things, but I will put my body in between somebody. Nobody's gonna. I will be the front line. I'm at every single one of the youth groups, and I will be the front line of anything that ever, if something ever happens. So right now we're kind of just pushing our boundaries and seeing what will happen. We haven't, and I will say so far we've gotten some comments. I've gotten way less than I ever thought that I would. I assumed as soon as I put stuff on social media I'd be blasted, but I was not. I've actually got a lot more support than I ever dreamed. But we haven't gotten any threats. I will say that we have a zine workshop. For those of you who know what a zine is, 90s kids or before, or way before actually, but way before. But we had a zine workshop. And I had put an actual ad out for that. It's a zine, and it was for LGBTQI plus histories and learning how to make a zine. And that got a lot more angry marks than most things that I put out. I think because I did an ad that we were kind of, it was like, okay. And we got a couple of groomers comments, but I just delete and block immediately. So we actually part of why we had to postpone that was because the Elon kids that were going to be, some of the students that were going to be involved did not feel safe. They have a lot of bad stories from about Graham. And so, and I will never ask them to do anything that they don't feel safe doing. I am trying to let them know, like, okay, but we have 64 Harvard. There's these other very wonderful places in Graham. We can take it back. But that's the reality of that too. And we postponed, and we do have a new date, and we are going to be doing it, and it'll be much the same. Just hopefully we can help them be a little more comfortable, because we haven't gotten any threats. If I had gotten a threat, that would have been a different thing. So safety is. I wish I had a better answer and a shorter answer, but it is something that is always on my mind. We will keep what we can, just not where people know what's happening, and we're going to see with the youth. We will cross bridges and hopefully they never will. But
Denise had a question.
Just an appreciation. I just really appreciate you all and the work that you're doing in the community that you're building. And you never know what it helps to make possible. So, for example, I have a beloved godchild who is attending college in LA and is trans. And I have hesitated to invite Ezra to visit us because I didn't know what that would be like.
Yeah.
For Ezra, and if there would be, any support if Ezra stayed for a while.
Yeah.
So I'm so glad that you guys exist.
Thank you for that. Yes, I hope that does start changing that for you.
I did. This might be out of the realm, but I'm not helping. That would sound bad. But someone who came out to me that's older.
Yeah.
And is just coming out. And very, well, to like 3 people. And
Right.
so what's out there for the older than me, but still in the 1900s? I'm never gonna forget that, Greg.
I know.
So yeah, I mean, I feel for her, but she's in the mountains
Sure.
around. Grew up a Republican, his family member. So it's different for me to not deal with her. I don't mean it that way. I'm very honored that I'm the first person
absolutely.
she came out to. But, when it's family, it gets different. And it's distant family, like we haven't always been close.
Sure.
Yeah.
But this...
Miles or otherwise,
Yeah, but it seems like they reached out
Yeah.
because there's a commonality, maybe.
Yeah.
So as far as trans and non-binary, here we have our adult peer-led group, that kind of says that maybe we need just an LGBT Q group, kind of group as well, maybe. So yeah, are they live?
No, not here.
They don't live here, yeah.
I just think about it. Really, what are the resources out there?
Right.
For
older
someone. I think it's an overlooked community.
It is, and as far the queer and the trans, we have some very all ages at our adult group that have just come out. So they're certainly not alone. But yeah, you were.
You meant, are they older?
Did they?
Yeah. So there is a nonprofit organization called Carolina Alliance, and their focus is on older LGBTQ plus adults. They do socials, they do classes, gatherings, they do breakfast, dinners throughout the month. So I can get you.
Okay,
I should have shot that right on to Sora.
And they have 2 locations. So they have the Triangle, and they also serve the Triad. So
Yes. Perfect.
My last question is, if we know people who could benefit from this, how do we get them connected with them?
Okay. So I think I have cards in my pocketbook that I could give too, but we have Facebook, Instagram, website. You get on the website and email, and I am the one who gets all the emails, so I will be the one that responds. So absolutely, huh?
What's the web address?
Oh, website is transcendalamance.org.
Okay.
So it's easy, and
Thank you for what you're doing.
Thanks.
That was great. Do you have a need for physical bodies to do things, to help out? I don't have experiences that I can share, but I have a card if people need a ride. I can. What do you need physically?
Yes. Yes, and we are trying to figure out how best to organize those things. So I wonder. So what I could do is take your contact, and we will start because we're actively trying to figure out how to organize volunteers and things like that. So I will take your contact, and hopefully, we've talked about having a little volunteer training that because we can do which would be great. And then so we have some ideas. So yes, let me take your contact because mostly this is all just new and we're building. so I wish I had a straightforward answer, but.
And you can also do that online too.
Oh yeah, you sure can. Yes.
There's a section.
Yep. I'm not sure about that.
and on that note.
Well, Rachel, I just want to say we're so grateful for y'all, and thank y'all for just making space in your day. And Julie, I'm so glad that you are here. And I'm going to butcher your name, Sarai. I'm extremely jealous because when you said good morning, everybody just good morning. What is that? Like,
You warmed us up.
yeah. There's always like, good morning and nothing. Yeah. But I just want to I want to thank y'all for your journey. This week, I was in a meeting to ask for money.
Fun.
But I just always emphasize just the need for this church in this county, and I think it's the same is you can look at this county, you can just get really frustrated, or you can just say I'm going to do something, and y'all did something and are doing something, and that's how change happens. Anything that we celebrate, any gift of thriving that we celebrate, is because somebody else decided, not for the next generation. And so, there's so many of you that are in this room that have paved the way for, it's like I'm telling Dawn and Tim's son's story. What's her son's name? Caleb. Caleb's like, I'm gay and my life is beautiful and wonderful. And like, he doesn't have like the trauma around it, and I'm like, that's because somebody paved the way, for you to live and be you. Your family did, your school did, and so it's such a so wonderful, and y'all are paving the way for kids in this county to grow up in a way that they feel supported, and so like they're going to grow up and hopefully there's a safe space for where trauma and disappointment are, but hopefully for kids that safe place will be enough for them to keep the trauma away, and so we're so grateful. Invite Daddy to pray for us.